I'm Nikki and welcome back to my channel. Today I want to talk to you about 5 tips for practicing yoga, or if you're just starting yoga. So, number 1, just start. Seems easy, right? Get on your mat even 10 minutes a day and you'll start to see yourself get more disciplined in that practice. Sometimes I think we shoot for this big number, like I want to practice 60 minutes a day, 5 to 7 times a week. Is that realistic for coming from 0 minutes a day to 60 minutes a day? Probably not. 10 minutes, 5 to 6 times a week can make a huge difference, and you can do it from the comfort of your own home. You can even check out some of my other videos on 14-minute flows or 10-minute little flows for you to start to integrate into your daily routine, and then eventually work yourself up to some of those bigger numbers. Number 2, warm up your wrists. So especially in vinyasa style yoga, I think a lot of times our hands get left out even though we're using them so much. So a few wrist exercises, just rolling out your wrists in the morning or before you get on your mat or while you get on your mat, taking your palms and doing a few of these, right? Flicking your hands to get them really active, stretch out the wrists, right? In my videos, I try to do at least a few wrist stretches per video, but just anything to get into your wrist flexion a little bit, and then keeping your fingers active as well so that you're relieving some of the pressure that can go onto your wrist joints. All right, leads me into number 3. Number 3, what are you doing with your fingers and what are you doing with your toes? So our fingers and our feet or our toes are usually the furthest point away from our body, so it's where we find that extension. So if my hands are really limp or if my feet are just kind of hanging out here rather than engaged and active, what it does is it trails all the way down my entire limbs until my body doesn't feel as tight as it could be. And when you're leading with those hands and with your fingers and with your toes when we're moving in and out of postures, it's important that they're super active so that your practice becomes more intentional and you feel more successful within it. All right, number 4, mindful transitions. So really important thing is to make sure that your transitions are as mindful as being in the postures themselves. And a lot of times I tell my students, act as if the transition is a posture itself, because in a way it kind of is. Right? We're moving mindfully on our mat for an entire length of time rather than just getting into a pose and getting out of the pose and then getting into a pose and getting out of a pose. We want to make the entire practice the meditation, not just necessarily the posture that you're in. So your practice will become more graceful and more fluid when you really start to hone in and think about those transitions as mindfully as the postures themselves, and remembering that this is a journey, right? And we're focusing on the journey, not the final destination, knowing that there really isn't a final destination in yoga. All right, number 5, have fun, right? Again, it's a tough concept to grasp because it's almost too simple. It's to just enjoy your time on your mat, but I think that if we don't enjoy it, if we think of it as a quote-unquote workout, or if we think of it as something that we have to do, then we're going to refrain from doing it as frequently as we want to because we're not enjoying it. So enjoy your time on your mat. Have fun. If you're working on arm balances, handstands, inversions, or if you're simply working on just moving your body for 10 minutes a day, enjoy doing it. Lean into that and have gratitude that you have a body that moves for you. All right. Those are my 5 tips for today. Again, my name is Nikki. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up below. Comment if you have anything else that you have questions on, and subscribe to my channel if you want to see more videos like this. I'll see you back on your mat really soon. Namaste.